Okay, so in the last lecture we discussed about the zeroth law of thermodynamics, and we have introduced the concept of internal energy. Okay, so the word itself says that the internal energy is the internal, so it is the energy of a system, the internal energy of a system. Okay, so this is the inside energy. Okay, so what is meant by internal energy? The energy it is an intrinsic property, the energy corresponding to the molecules, where they it may be in the form of kinetic, it may be in the form of potential, or due to their chemical energy, it may be the nuclear energy, it may be the atomic energy, so on. So that collectively, microscopically, the energy present in the system, we call it as internal energy. But we have seen that this who is responsible for the internal energy? This is the main one, is the kinetic energy. Okay, the contribution of kinetic energy is more, therefore usually we take internal energy as the kinetic energy of the particles in a substance. We call it as internal energy. Okay, so this internal energy, okay, internal energy, let me represent by u. Okay, so u indicates an internal energy. Now this depends on two quantities here. One, heat supplied to the system. Second is work. Okay, so last class only we have taken the brief. Okay, so the note on heat, work, and internal energy. So internal energy is a function of heat and work. Okay, so it is a function of heat and work. That means the internal energy changes with change in heat, the internal energy changes with a change in work. Okay, now you can see here. Let me take a very simple explanation for it. So let me take a system. Okay, so let me take system as the gas. So gas has gas molecules. Okay, so this gas contains large number of gas molecules. They are in a random motion. Okay, so they are in a random motion, and this uh, the sum of the kinetic energy of these molecules are nothing but it is called internal energy. That means what? Initially it has got certain internal energy. As it's the gas, initially it has certain internal energy. Okay, initially it has certain energy, internal energy. Okay, let me call that internal energy as ui. Okay, every system has got certain internal, initially it has got certain internal energy. Okay, so let me call it as ui. Okay, so there may be two possible ways where you can increase the internal energy of the gas. Now this is the initial internal energy. Okay, there may be two possible ways. Number one is, if you heat this particular system, okay, if you supply heat to the particular system, that means heat is flowing from surrounding to the system, then what happens? Definitely the molecule absorbs this heat energy. As you know that heat is kinetic in nature, therefore their kinetic energy increases. Okay, when these gas molecules absorb this heat energy, then their kinetic energy increases. If their kinetic energy increases, that means what? Their internal energy increases. So their internal energy becomes UF. I call it as final internal energy. Okay, so their internal energy increases. It attains the final internal energy. That means what? There is some change in internal energy. Let me call this change in internal energy as delta U. Delta U is the change in internal energy. That means it is the final internal energy means minus initial internal energy. Okay, so the whatever may be the heat supplied, let me take that heat supplied. I take this quantity as delta Q. When you given some amount of heat to the system, then its internal energy increases. Are you getting me? So this is a one possible way where you can increase the internal energy. Okay. The second way is, so let me take this aside. It is connected to a piston, a movable piston, frictionless movable piston. Okay. So let me put some weights here. Okay, I add some weights on the piston. Okay, now what happens? Very simple. Now this piston moves in the downward direction. You are putting some weights on the piston, therefore the piston start moving in the downward direction. Okay, so the displacement take place. Now piston is moving, weight is a force, you added a force on the piston, and the piston is in movement, that means it has certain displacement, that means work has been done on the system. Who is doing work here? Surrounding. You are putting weights on the piston, you are putting on the weights on the piston, that means the surrounding is putting weight on the piston, on the system. So therefore the work is done by the surrounding on the system. As the work is done by the surrounding on the system, then what happens? According to work energy theorem, as you studied in the classical physics, according to work energy theorem, work get converted to energy. Okay, so this amount of work, you are doing certain work for the displacement of the piston, and that work get converted to energy, and that energy is nothing but internal energy. Okay, so this time your internal energy increases. Again, if before application of work, let ui be the initial internal energy. After application of work, if uf is the final internal energy, then what is the change in internal energy? The change in internal energy is delta u. And where this delta u comes from? This time this delta u comes from delta w on the work. Okay, so therefore I can say that internal energy of the system depends on two quantities. One depends on the heat, second depends on the work. Okay, so the first law of thermodynamics, it gives a relation between, a fine relation between heat, work and internal energy. Okay, if delta U is the change of internal energy due to the application of heat, delta Q, and some amount of work, delta W, then I can say that delta U depends on both the quantities delta Q as well as the delta W. And the first law of thermodynamics, okay, the first law of thermodynamics, first law of thermodynamics, okay, so the first law of thermodynamics, it gives the relation between delta U, delta Q and delta W. The first law of thermodynamics, it says that delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. Okay, what is the relation between delta Q, delta U and delta W? Delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. What is delta Q? Delta Q means, okay, what is delta Q? Amount of heat given to the system by the surrounding. Amount of heat supplied to the system by the surrounding, by the surrounding. Okay, so reverse may be also true. It is amount of heat supplied by the system, okay, by the system to the surrounding. What is the delta U? Delta U is change in internal energy. So change in internal energy, change in internal energy. It's not the internal energy, so you already have certain internal energy. When you supply certain work, then there may be increase in internal energy. Therefore now that change in internal energy, this comes from the amount of work done on it. Okay, so this is a change in internal energy. And delta W means, okay, if I take this relation, delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W, then I can say that delta W is nothing but amount of work done, okay, amount of work done on the surrounding on the surrounding by the system, on the surrounding by the system, by the system. Okay, if I take this one as a delta q, delta u, and delta w like that, then I can say that delta q is equal to delta u plus delta w. That means what? See, now see here. So the first law of thermodynamics says that when you supply certain amount of energy to the system, okay, for an example, I am supplying certain 100 joule of energy to the system. See, system has already got certain initial internal energy. Let me assume that it has got certain initial internal energy as 20 joule. Okay, so initial internal energy as 20 joule. When you supply this energy to this system, the system absorbs this energy. Okay, therefore its energy becomes 120 joule. Okay, therefore this kinetic energy of the system increases. The kinetic energy of the particles present in the system increases. As the kinetic energy of the particle present in the system increases, then what? Then they, okay, so they collide with more energy with the walls of the container. Okay, when they collide on the walls of the container, then what happens? They push this piston in the upper direction. Okay, they put this the push this piston in the upper direction. Okay, so they are doing work here. Now this system, it does work on the surrounding, therefore its volume changes, its volume increases, by delta v. It do certain amount of work, and we know that what is the amount of work? Delta w, I can say that p into delta v. Okay, work is always defined as, in the last lecture we have already know this relation. So work done is already it's also defined as the pressure into change in volume. Therefore work has been done, then volume of the gas increases. Okay, so some amount of work is done, what is the amount of work done here? If I take the delta w, the amount of work done is 60 joule. Okay, now you can see that, see what is the amount of heat supplied? 100 joule. Okay, what is the amount of work done? Amount of work done is 60. So what is the increase in internal energy? The increase in internal energy is 40. Are you getting me? So your final internal energy is how much? This is 60 joule. Okay, your final internal energy is 60 joule. Therefore, what is the change in internal energy? 60 minus 20. How much it is? 40. What is the amount of work? Amount of work is 60. Therefore, 60 plus 40 is equal to 100. The first law of thermodynamics says that amount of heat given to the system is partially, okay, it's saying that partially used to increase internal energy and partially used to do the work on the surrounding. Okay, whenever you supply the heat energy, you can see that there may be change in both. Okay, so partially there is a change in internal energy, and some amount of energy is used to do work on the system. Are you getting me? So that is nothing but your first law of thermodynamics. Okay, amount of heat given to the system partially used to increase the internal energy, and remaining amount of energy is used by the system to do the work on the surrounding. Okay, so therefore 100 should be equal to 40 plus 60. That means what? So it is nothing but, so how I am saying that 100 equal to 40 plus 60? Because it is based on the conservation of energy. Okay, therefore the first law of thermodynamics is nothing but it. Okay, the principle of the first law of thermodynamics is nothing but law of conservation of energy. Okay, what does the law of conservation of energy says? Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be transferred from one form to the other form. Okay, are you getting me? Therefore the delta q is get converted to delta u plus delta w. You can't create energy, you can't destroy energy, but you can convert one form of energy to other form of energy. Therefore the basic principle on which the first law of thermodynamics work is nothing but the law of conservation of energy. Okay, and this This formula looks very simple. Delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W, but it has got a large number of physical significance. Okay, you are the steam engines, you are the heat engines. All this work on the basic principle of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so there are certain specific cases there where we say that the specific heat at higher temperature for the solid is constant, that is equal to 3R. Okay, you are explaining about the specific heat of water, you are deriving the Mayer's relation, you are using this one for the explanation for heat engines. Okay, so therefore this equation look like simple, but it's not simple, but its applications are not simple. It has got large number of physical applications. Okay, so in our syllabus we have got certain, okay, so certain explanation about this first law of thermodynamics. Okay, we are going to study some of the main important physical significance of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, let me study one by one. Okay, again I am repeating, what is the first law of thermodynamics? Amount of heat given to the system is partially used to increase what? Internal energy, and some amount is used for the, okay, for the work. Okay, so let me go for, okay, so we can use the first law of thermodynamics for any thermodynamic process. Okay, for any thermodynamic process to explain, we can write the first law of thermodynamics for any thermodynamic process. Okay, what is meant by thermodynamic process? Process means what is meant by process? Process means something is changing. Okay, so you have some initial state, after certain application of some external agent you are getting some other, okay, state. That means you say that some process has been done. Okay, you are there is some process has been done. Okay, so process means what? If there is some change in variables. And who are the variables here in thermodynamics? Who are the variables? Pressure, volume and temperature, these are the variables. Okay, if this quantity changes, then we can say that, okay, it has done certain, the process has been done. Okay, so first let me write what is first law of thermodynamics. The mathematical form of first law of thermodynamics is delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. Instead of delta W I can write directly this one, P into delta V. Is it correct? Okay, so what is work? Work is nothing but the pressure into change in volume. Okay, in case of fluids we are using the pressure, the concept of pressure. Therefore I can say that, so the work is defined as P into delta V. Okay, therefore delta Q is equal to P into delta V. Okay, so one by one let me discuss about the thermodynamic process. Okay, the first important one is, okay, isothermal process. Isothermal process. Okay, what is meant by isothermal process? Iso means what? Same. Iso means same. Thermal means it is related to temperature. It is related to temperature. That means what? This thermodynamic process take place. Now, who are the thermodynamic variables? Pressure, volume, and temperature. Okay, if this quantity changes, either it is change in pressure, change in volume, change in temperature, all these three quantity changes, okay, or two quantity changes or one quantity changes, then I can say that some amount of process is going on. Okay, if this all these quantities are constant, your pressure is constant, volume is constant, temperature is constant, then I can say that now there is no process is going on. Okay, the state of that matter is, it is fixed, it is stationary. Okay, but if there is a change, then I call it as process. Okay, so what is meant by isothermal process? In isothermal process, the your temperature is constant. Okay, the word itself says that isothermal, that means same temperature. That means what? The temperature is constant. Okay, so isothermal process, temperature is constant. You know that if the temperature is constant, then what is the relation between pressure and volume? Pressure is inversely proportional to volume. That is nothing but a very famous Boyle's law. This is nothing but Boyle's law. Okay, when the temperature is constant, the pressure is inversely proportional to volume. As you increase the pressure, volume decreases. If you double the pressure, volume becomes half. If you triple the pressure, your volume becomes V by 3. Okay, so now this is nothing but isothermal example, isothermal process. Obey which law? I can say that it obey Boyle's law. Okay, isothermal process, it obey Boyle's law. Okay. Now see here. So we are not discussing about the Boyle's law here. We are not taking the relation of P and V. So we require thermodynamic, the first law of thermodynamic equation for the isothermal process. Okay. So in isothermal process, temperature is constant. Who is related to temperature? Now you can see that delta U. U means what? U is nothing but internal energy. U is nothing but internal energy. What is internal energy? Internal energy is nothing but it is the sum of kinetic energy of the particles in a container. That means it is somewhat related to half m square. Okay, so it is somewhat it is related to, now this is a summation of half m square, something like this. Okay, so in the law of equipartition of energy, okay, when I go to the Maxwell's theory, so where we can connect the kinetic energy with respect to 3 by 2 kT. Okay, in the next topic is about a kinetic theory of gases, where we can, where by using the Maxwell's law of equipartition of energy, we can relate the kinetic energy with respect to the heat energy, where we can say that half m square is nothing but 3 by 2 kT or half kT or 5 by 2 kT, whatever it will be. For a one atomic gas, if I take in a 3 dimension, then kinetic energy can be written as 3 by 2 kT. Okay, so half m square is equal to 3 by 2 kT. So that means what? This kinetic energy depends on which quantity? The kinetic energy depends on the temperature. Okay, 3 by 2, K is a Boltzmann constant. Okay, it's a constant. It's a Boltzmann constant. It is a constant. So which one is the variable quantity? The temperature is the variable quantity. That means what? If you increase the temperature of the gas, then which quantity increases? The kinetic energy increases. That means the kinetic energy depends on the temperature. Okay, so that means in isothermal process you are keeping the temperature constant. If you are keeping the temperature constant, that means your kinetic energy is constant. Okay, if the temperature is constant, that means this quantity remains constant. If this quantity remains constant, that means your kinetic energy remains constant. Are you getting me? So this time if you supply heat energy, if you supply heat energy to the system, okay, if you supply heat energy, okay, if you supply heat energy to the system, then what happens? Now see here, ui is your initial internal energy, and your this ui initial internal energy, whatever maybe you supply the heat energy to a system, your internal energy remains constant. There is no change in internal energy. Therefore your change in internal energy, so delta u is 0. Are you getting me? Your temperature is constant, your kinetic energy doesn't changes, it remains fixed. Internal energy is nothing but kinetic energy. Therefore, your delta U is 0. That means what? That means what? Now this equation becomes delta Q is equal to what? Is equal to 0 plus delta W. Okay, this is nothing but work. That means what? That means what? Entire amount of heat energies get converted to what? Converted to work. Okay, so whatever maybe the heat energy supplied to the system, now that heat energy entirely does work on the surrounding. Okay, there is no change in internal energy. Now this is the equation of first law of thermodynamics for isothermal process. Okay, so in isothermal process, if the process is isothermal, then whatever may the heat supplied, now that entire amount of heat is used for what? Used for the work. Are you getting me? Okay, so what are the example for isothermal process? For an example, if you take melting point and boiling point. Okay, so at melting point, at standard atmospheric pressure, okay, at STP, at the standard pressure, standard atmospheric pressure, what is the melting point of an ice? The melting point of the ice is 0 degree centigrade. Okay, that means what? At 0 degree centigrade, okay, when it reaches the 0 degree centigrade, so before 0 degree centigrade, so you are supplying the heat energy, it get converted to what? The change of temperature, when it attains 0 degree centigrade, whatever may be the you are supplying the heat, there is no change in temperature. That means what? That energy is directly get converted to work. Okay, what type of work is okay? So is doing near the melting point. You can see that when it reaches the melting point, once it reaches the melting point, you can see that ice is get converted to water. Okay, so ice start get converted to water. That means the bond between that molecules, it get okay, it get breaking. Okay, breakdown take place and the solid becomes liquid. So that means your amount of heat energy directly doing the work there. Okay, so now this is for, so this is melting point and boiling point, an example for isothermal process where the amount of heat energy is not used for the change of temperature, but it is doing certain work. Okay, so now this is about the isothermal process. Okay, let me go for the second one here. Okay, after isothermal process, what is the second important thermodynamic process? That is, the second is, let me take, okay, if I take isobaric. Okay, so before isobaric, let me take adiabatic process or isochoric process. Okay, isochoric process. Isochoric process. What is iso? Iso means same. What is choric? Choric means core. It means volume. Okay, now these are the Latins and Greek words like this, where this okay, iso means same. Okay, so baric means pressure. Okay, choric means volume. That means same volume. Same volume. What is meant by same volume? The process takes place in such a way that your volume is constant. An isoprosic process, the process take place, okay, no problem, but there is a change in pressure, there is a change in temperature, but your volume doesn't changes. If the volume doesn't changes, then such kind of process is called isochoric process. Okay, so your volume is not changing. That means what? Again, if I take a container fixed with a frictionless piston, okay, this time your piston is fixed. Okay, you are attached here. Piston is not moving, it is completely attached. Okay, as it is completely attached, okay, when you supply heat energy, now this time if you supply the heat energy, okay, so the work done this time, there is no work done. What is delta V? So delta V is 0. V is constant means what is delta V? Change in volume. Your volume is same. Your volume is same. Your volume is not changing, therefore delta V becomes 0. Therefore I can say that, so delta Q is equal to delta U. In the last case, delta Q is equal to delta W. That means your entire amount of heat energies get converted to work. This time your entire amount of heat energies get converted to what? Get converted to change in internal energy. Okay, so entire amount. Okay, if you supplied 100 joule of energy to the system, then what is the change in internal energy? It is 100 joule. Are you getting me? So therefore delta Q is equal to delta U. Okay, if the volume is constant, if the volume of the system is constant, then entire amount of heat energies get converted to the change in its internal energy. Okay, so this is an isochoric process. Isochoric process, whenever the isochoric process takes place, there is a rise of temperature. The temperature is increasing. Okay, so let me go for the next one. Okay, so this time this delta Q is equal to delta U. Okay, next is, so isobaric process, okay, or adiabatic process. If I take adiabatic process, adiabatic process. Okay, what is meant by adiabatic process? Again, we know that adiabatic means what? Adiabatic means there is no exchange of heat between the system and the surrounding. Okay, are you getting me? So what is meant by adiabatic process? Adiabatic process means there is no exchange of heat between the system and the surroundings. Neither absorbs the heat energy or it doesn't liberates heat energy to the surrounding. That means it is called adiabatic process. Okay, that means this time you have taken one container fitted with a frictionless piston. Okay, but your walls of the containers, if you take this walls of the container, okay, now this is your wall of the container. This time it is perfectly insulated. It is insulated. For an example, you have taken wood, glass, something like this. Okay, so whatever will be the heat energy supplied to this container, now this energy doesn't flow to the system. Okay, this time heat energy is not flowing from the system to the surrounding. Are you getting me? Okay, so therefore, this time in a diabatic process, your delta Q itself is zero. There is no supply of energy to the surrounding. Therefore, your delta Q is zero. Okay, that means your walls are perfectly insulated. Now what happens? Okay, now what happens? If delta Q is equal to zero, that means what? Your equation becomes zero is equal to what? Delta U plus delta W. Your equation becomes delta U is equal to delta W. Therefore, I can say that this time also there may be a possibility of work because of this equation. Then you can write what? Delta W is equal to what? Delta W, it can be written as, okay, so delta W, it can be written as what? Minus delta U. Okay, minus delta U. That means what? That means what? See, what does the minus sign indicates? Okay, what does the minus sign indicates? Minus sign, see, it is equal, but it is minus. That means what? The process is the reverse one. That means what? If delta W increases, that means delta U decreases. Okay, so now see here. So delta W is equal to delta U means, so this time also system may do certain work on the surrounding. Okay, system may do certain work on the surrounding. So if the system do 10 joule of work on the surrounding, now this time this 10 joule of work comes from which quantity? It comes from, not this time from delta Q, because delta Q is zero. You are the external person who is giving you the energy. This time there is no external person, but still you are doing your work from where? From your own energy. Okay, you are doing your work from your own energy, from your the internal energy. If you do certain 10 joule of energy, okay, if the system do 10 joule of work on the surrounding, then it is spend 10 joule of energy. That means its internal energy decreases by 10 joule. Are you getting me? Okay, if work is done by the system on the surrounding, then its internal energy decreases. That's the meaning. Negative sign indicates that the process is okay. So it is the opposite one. If this work do, then internal energy decreases. Okay, whatever that delta U is get converted to delta W. Okay, even though there is no external supply of heat energy, there may be possibility of work, but work comes from internal energy. Now this is called adiabatic process. Okay, so this is called adiabatic process. Okay, okay, so the next one is, okay, after adiabatic you have the last one, that is isobaric process. Isobaric process. Iso means say, baric means pressure. Bar means pressure. That means this time the pressure is same. In case of isochoric, volume is same. So your delta Q is equal to delta U. In isothermal process, the temperature is same. Your delta Q is equal to what? Delta W. In adiabatic process, delta Q is zero. Therefore, delta W is equal to minus delta D. This time it is isobaric, means pressure is constant. So pressure is constant. Pressure is constant. Okay. So the process take place. Okay. Whatever the process, that process take place, that change take place. But you have to keep in mind that your pressure of the system should be a constant one. It should not change. Okay. It should not change. Now see here. If this is an container fitted with a frictionless piston, okay, so if you supply certain amount of heat energy to the system, okay, so delta Q is the energy supplied to the system by the surrounding, then there is a possibility of increase in internal energy plus, okay, So when the internal energy increases, then what happens? The kinetic energy of the particles, molecules increases. Okay, when the kinetic energy of the particles increases, then what? They collides on the walls of the container with a more pressure. Okay, so when the kinetic energy is less, they falls on the container with a less pressure. If the kinetic energy is more, then the pressure acting on the container is also more. Okay, so the pressure increases. The pressure increases, but in your process, your pressure should remain constant. Okay, if the pressure should remain constant, then what does this gas do? It's very simple. So this start moving in the upward direction. Are you getting me? Okay, so when this pressure is more, okay, the internal pressure is compared to more when it's outside. Now see here, so before application of this energy, let me assume that the surrounding pressure is some 10 atmosphere, the internal pressure is also 10 atmosphere. You have supplied certain amount of heat energy, there is an increase in internal energy. So let me assume that internal energy becomes, okay, the increase in internal energy becomes certain 30-40 joules, so that the pressure, as the kinetic energy increases, the particles, okay, so they exert more pressure on the container. So this time the pressure is 20 atmosphere. Then what happens? You can see that the inside pressure is greater than outside pressure. Therefore, now this container start moving in the upward direction. Okay, this piston start moving in the upward direction. Okay, I start moving in the upward direction. Now you can see that the distance is more. Okay, so this time if the piston start moving in the upward direction, therefore the volume increases. Okay, therefore, yeah, as you supplying the kinetic energy increases, but as the distance is more, so this time they falls with, they collide with less pressure. Okay, if that distance is more, as the distance goes on increases, finally at a certain position, again the now that pressure becomes 10 atmosphere, so it remains fixed. All right, okay, it is going to fix at this particular point. Are you getting me? Okay, so therefore the system do certain work on the surrounding. Okay, so the system lift this piston in the upward direction, so it does certain work on the surrounding like this. So again the pressure remains 10 only. Okay, before 10, then after also 10. Therefore your pressure is kept constant. Okay, so to keep the pressure constant, delta Q, now what happens? Certain amount of internal energy expended has been used, and it has to do certain work to keep the pressure constant. So what is the equation for first law of thermodynamics for the isobaric process? That is delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. So this is nothing but our first law of thermodynamics. Okay, this is the general form of first law of thermodynamics. Now this is a general form. So the general form of first law of thermodynamics is nothing but what? Thermodynamic equation for the isobaric process. Okay, so isobaric process 100% obey the equation of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, other things, some delta U is 0, delta W is 0, but in case of isobaric process, your delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. Okay, so the first law of thermodynamics, and in the in different thermodynamic process, we are getting some different form of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so in future for the, okay, in future classes we have to remember these equations. Okay, now in case of isothermal, if the process is isothermal, isobaric, we can use the first law of thermodynamics in their modified form like that. Okay, so let me use first law of thermodynamics, okay, to explain certain okay, so the certain processes. Okay, so like specific heat of the solid at high temperature, it is constant. Okay, so I am giving a data here. Okay, so you can see that the specific heat of solid, okay, at for the solid is, for the copper, for the aluminum, you can see that. Okay, so they are different, but if you take the molar specific heat at high temperature, okay, you can see that if you take the molar specific heat of the gases at high temperature, and see here something, you are getting something 26, 24, something like this. So it is somewhat 3 times that of the R. R is universal gas constant, that is 8 into 3, okay, 24, approximately 24 like that. Okay, so I can explain this data by using first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so before that we must know about the Maxwell law of equipartition of energy, which I am going to take in the next lecture. Okay, so therefore I directly borrow certain equations from that particular topic. Okay, so let me take, okay, for the solids, okay, I have to prove that the specific heat of the solids is constant, is approximately equal to not, is approximately.
Okay, you can see the specific heat of certain substance like aluminum, carbon, copper, lead, silver and tungsten. If you see their specific heat, okay, now these are the constant for the material. For aluminum it is 900, for the carbon it is 506, copper it is 386, okay, silver it is 236. If you look at the molar specific heat, now you can see that aluminum, copper, lead, silver and tungsten, all they have the same value for the molar specific heat. It is approximately 3 times that of the universal gas constant. Carbon is a special case, let we discuss in some other classes.
Equal to 3R at high temperature. Okay, now the experiment, okay, you can see that the experiment data says that the specific heat of the solid is approximately constant, that is 3 times that of the universal gas constant, and is the now this obvious at high temperature. At low temperature definitely there is some deviation from this experimental result, but at the high temperature almost it is same. Okay, so I can explain by using first law of thermodynamics by using the definitions of specific heat, and I am taking certain approximations. Okay, so what does the first law of thermodynamics is? Delta Q is equal to what? Delta Q is equal to, okay, so delta Q is equal to what? It is delta U, okay, plus delta W. Okay, now you can see that. Okay, so now the, okay, let me start with, so the first law of thermodynamics is delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W, that is nothing but P into delta V. Okay, so first I have to start with the concept of internal energy. Okay, so internal energy of the solid. Okay, what is solid? Solid means the atoms are, they are fixed at that equilibrium position. Okay, they are actually fixed at the equilibrium position. Okay, they don't have the translational form of energy because they cannot move from their equilibrium position. Okay, they are fixed in between the atoms, they have their interatomic forces like that. Okay, so that means if you supply heat energy, what is internal energy? Internal energy is nothing but a kinetic energy. Okay, it should show its kinetic nature. Okay, so what happens here? So solid show their kinetic nature. Okay, so they show their kinetic means what? Motion. Okay, they can show their motion here. What type of motion? So you know that motion means it may be translatory, it may be rotatory, circulation, or it may be the oscillatory. Okay, solids doesn't show this motion, translatory and circulatory, but they can have the oscillatory motion. Okay, they can move about their equilibrium position, they have got this freedom here. Okay, and Maxwell says that if the particle has got 1 degree of freedom, then what is the energy corresponding to that 1 degree of freedom? Half kT. Half kT, where k is nothing but Boltzmann constant. Okay, so Boltzmann constant, half kT. Okay, if it has got 1 degree of freedom, it is half kT. Now you can see that now this particular molecule has got 2 degree of freedom. That means it can move in this particular direction, x direction, or it can also move in the negative x direction. Okay, therefore it has got 2 degree of freedom. So therefore, what is the energy of the? So therefore, this energy of the atom, is how much? Is 2 into half kT. Are you getting me? 2 into half kT. 2 into half kT. Why 2? Because it has got 2 degrees here. It can move in the x direction. It can also move in the y direction. Therefore, automatically becomes kT. So, what is the energy corresponding to one atom in one dimension? I'm showing you the one dimension. How much it is? Kt. But you know that the atom has got 2 degrees of freedom. It can move in the x direction. It can move in the y direction. It can also move in the z direction. Are you getting me? Okay. So if this is a half kt for one dimension, then how many directions are there? That means now see, this atom can move in the positive x direction. It can move in the negative x direction. It can move in the positive y direction. It can move in the negative y direction. It can move in the positive direction, z direction. It can move in the negative z direction. Then therefore, how many possibilities are there? There are 6 possibilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many possibilities are there? You can have the 6 possibilities. Okay, you can have the 6 possibilities. Therefore, I can say that. Therefore, I can say that energy of the atom, okay, in a 3 dimension. If I take the 3 dimension, then how much it is? 6 into half kt. Therefore, how much it is? 3 kt. Are you getting me? So what is the energy corresponding to one atom in the solid? It is 3 kt. Okay, so half kt, where this half kt comes, you will study in kinetic theory of gases. Okay, so therefore for energy corresponding to one atom is 3 kt. Okay, let me take the molar specific heat. Our concept is about molar specific heat. Molar specific heat means what? It contains 1 mole. Okay, it contains 1 mole. What is 1 mole? What is meant by 1 mole? If it contains the Avogadro number of particles, 6.02 into 10 raised to 23 number of particles, then we call it as 1 mole. Okay. Therefore, energy of 1 mole. Okay, energy of 1 mole is equal to, okay, so if it has 1 mole, if there are 1 mole, if there are 6.02 into 10 raised to 23, then I can write 3 kt. Now this is the energy corresponding to 1. If there are 1 mole, then I write multiplied by Na. What is Na? Avogadro number of particles. Are you getting me? 1 mole means what? 1 mole is nothing but 6.02 into 10 raised to 23 number of atoms are called 1 mole. Okay, so let me take this one as Na. Avogadro number. Therefore, energy corresponding to 1 mole is nothing but 3 kt into Na. Okay, if we take this one, okay, so what is K? K is nothing but a Boltzmann constant, that is 1.28 into 10 raised to minus 23 joule per Kelvin. Okay, if you multiplied Na and K, okay, if you multiply this Na, okay, if you multiplied 6.02 into 10 raised to 23 multiplied by 1.28 into 10 raised to minus 23, then you are getting this one as, if Na is multiplied by K, then you are getting 8.31. What is 8.31? 8.31 is nothing but our universal gas constant. That is nothing but R. Okay, so this quantity is nothing but R. Therefore, I can write 3 RT. Okay, therefore, what is energy corresponding to? Therefore, energy corresponding to 1 mole. Therefore, energy corresponding to, therefore, the energy corresponding to 1 mole of the solid is nothing but 3 RT. Okay, how much it is? 3 RT. Okay, so let me derive the formula for specific heat. Okay, so specific heat means what? Specific heat is nothing but, okay, so amount of heat energy. Okay, so what is the formula for specific heat? So delta Q is equal to what? C into M into delta T. Okay, in the last topic in the thermal properties of matter, okay, so we have used this equation, delta Q is equal to C into M into delta T. What is M? M is mass. This time mass is 1 mole. 1 mole. Therefore, it is called molar specific heat. Therefore, what is the formula for C? So, therefore, C becomes what? C is equal to delta Q by delta T. Therefore, your C is delta Q by delta T. Okay, so let me write this delta Q and delta U. Okay, so by relating with respect to internal energy, what does the first law of thermodynamics says? The first law of thermodynamics says that delta Q, your delta Q is equal to delta U plus P into delta V. Okay, P into delta V, so delta Q is equal to delta U plus P into delta V. You are discussing about solids. What is the delta V? Delta V is the change in the volume. Change in the volume, as you know that when you supply heat energy to the solids, then the change in volume is negligible. Okay, that change in the volume is negligible. You can't see the large amount of expansion in case of solids. Now they expand, no doubt, but that expansion is negligible. So this delta V is approximately zero. It is negligible. Therefore your equation becomes delta Q is equal to what? Your equation is delta Q is equal to delta U. Okay, okay, are you getting me? So your equation becomes delta Q is equal to delta U. Okay, so delta Q is equal to delta U. Therefore I can write in terms of, instead of C, therefore C, so the molar specific heat of solids, I can write it as delta, instead of delta Q by delta T, I can write delta U by delta T. Okay, so therefore this particular term becomes, you can write here also, if I write in terms of change as du by dt, no problem. Okay, you can change the terms also, you can write dq dt. So this become a mathematical form of differential calculus. So delta q delta u, like this. Okay, so this becomes du by dt. So what is meant by du by dt? That means it is the, you can derive, okay, you can differentiate 3RT with respect to T. Okay, so as you can see that in the next year you are going to study about the differentiation, where I can say that C, so this 3R is a constant, 3R is a constant, so this is an, okay, so the differentiation sign is not applicable for constant. 3 is constant, R 8.31 universal gas constant, so therefore this becomes a differentiation of T with respect to T, and the differentiation of T with respect to T is 1. Therefore your C becomes what? Your C becomes 3R. Okay, so that means the practical datas are correct. Okay, so when you take at the high temperature these molecules are in a oscillatory movement. If they are in a oscillatory movement, okay, so if I take the Maxwell's law and all these things, I can say that for any solid at 1 mole at high temperature, what is the molar specific heat? Molar specific heat is approximately equal to 3R, 3 times that of the universal gas constant. Okay, so this is the one of the finest, okay, example for, okay, so the application of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so in the next class, okay, let me take the other applications of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so thank you for your kind attention.